Ben, thanks for coming on video with me today to talk about this new leather that Alden is offering, the Lux in the color Arabica, and you got a whole swatch book there.
Got them
Uh,
all.
I would love to get your take because I've never seen this leather in a boot before or in a shoe. I think you're one of the few people that have, and I'm really curious to hear what your impressions are about that new leather, just so people can make a good choice to see if this is something that they want to pick up.
And first off, thanks for having me on. This is great. But I'm lucky enough to have here the Stitchdown ex Alden Madison collaboration boot, the Stitch Up 2 in the, you're saying at Arabica Lux?
Yeah, so that's funny that you said that because when I remember when Nick first put in the sample order, I was doing development at the tannery at the time, so I first saw that word and I pronounced it so wrong, Arabica, but it's Arabica, like the coffee or something.
It's been Arabica in my head the whole time.
For real? Okay.
Yeah, which is kind of,
it's good to know.
Anybody who listens to the Stitchdown Shoecast knows that we traffic and gleefully in mispronunciations. So happy to have a new one. But yeah, so this is the boot. This particular boot is kind of interesting because I mean, I'll say 95, like this might be the only one from the run that kind of looks a little different, where you can see here that the grain is just looser on the majority of the boot, except for, I don't know how well we can see this, the toe cap, which has lasted pretty hard. And then this one interior quarter panel, which really, this is what most of the boots end up looking like. And I know it's a little tough on video, and hopefully, we can show some of the shots that I have of my brother's pair, which is most representative. But the true form of this leather, I think the best way that I figured out how to describe it is two things. One, that it kind of has this desert floor effect to it, where it's all natural grain. This is just how it comes out of the tanning process, where there's this really interesting variation, kind of tessellating throughout the leather, throughout each panel. And then the other word, which I stole from Brett Klein at Alden, is crackly. And especially when you get it in the sun and there's one little beam of light maybe that you can see.
You got God coming down from your ceiling to highlight the boot.
yeah, he cares. It just gives off this really interesting shimmer that you really don't see from a lot of leathers. And inside, these are LED lights, fluorescents like don't really kind of get it going. But when you're outside in the sun and you're walking and you're looking down at your feet, there's just light flying everywhere, and it's really very, very cool and interesting.
I think I can help shine, not to abuse the array of light there, but I can help shine a bit of light onto the situation. But the two things that you mentioned there, that desert floor example or analogy is like really, really good because it kind of looks like sand that's just been sort of windswept in a fine way. So the Lux leather is tumbled for an extraordinarily long amount of time. It's roughly like 4 or 5 times longer than most tumbled leathers that Horween does. And they're trying to get an effect. And I think the look of the Lux leather is this fine tumble pattern, where most tumble patterns kind of look like your outside quarter panel, or it's like a little bit more pipey and sort of loose looking. I kind of liked the way yours looked, to be honest with you.
But I love the way that these look. They're just, want to make sure that I'm representing the majority of the boots in this leather correctly. But to me, you can't go wrong. Like either way, you win.
Yeah, and then that's that difference of sort of pipiness or lack thereof, I think, is because of the section on the hide where the leather was clicked or cut out, and in the bellies or in like the pockets of the animals, we call it, like underneath the armpits or underneath the back legs, the fibers of the animal get a little bit more work, so they tend to be less dense and like a little bit more fibrous. And if you cut, your vamp from that, you're going to see more pipiness. But if they're cutting most everything from the bend of the animal more towards the backbone and the butt, they tend to be a little bit more consistent, like you see there. I have a couple full hides here that we've been cutting some stuff from, so I see on the hide what you're talking about, but it's really just an effect of that tumbling. You're gonna get a natural pattern, and it's gonna be variable, which is part of the beauty of it. If they wanted it to be super consistent, they'd pop a texture and print into it, and I think it would just be a little bit more lame. So I think that's what you're seeing there. So the crackle, and there's a couple words. The crackle is like really good to describe it. At the tannery, we always called it sugary, and what it is, I think what you're seeing is the way that this leather is finished. You can see on the center of this wallet here, this is actually the crust of the leather. This is a leather called Essex, natural Essex. And they actually finish layers of finish and binders and top coats on top of that natural color. And in doing that, they put a really bright, shiny top coat on and pressed it really hard and then did all that tumbling. So I think what you're seeing is actually that broken up top coat. And top coat, if you look at it by itself, it's almost like a thin layer of like really fine, shiny plastic almost. And if you break it up and sort of imagine if you were just crumple up like really hard plastic, that's kind of what it looks like to me. There's two other things I think that I think about the Lux, and I wonder if you've seen any of this. But I mentioned that the backside or the crust of the leather is that natural color. And I think we're going to start to see the T-core thing, would be my imagination running wild here, is like once these finished layers start to rub off, there might be some of those undertones. Do you have some of that?
I don't know if you can see this, but I took these out for a hike yesterday and then, caught a stick. You can't really see it that well, but it's like right here. And what I did when it happened, I got back, but I just did the old, lick the thumb, wipe it out. And it actually tamped it down quite a bit. I haven't even tried to brush these or anything yet. But you can tell that immediately that there's something underneath there. And, there's other little like dings and nicks that haven't gone all the way through. But when they do, like, I think that these heels, you can see a little bit on the heel that it's starting to wear through, and I'm sure that'll be the first place where it happens. You get through that top coat with these, and I think that they're going to end up being really, really interesting the more that they're worn. And to have that, kind of rugged naturalness contrasting with this crackly, sugary, smooth panels on most of these boots, I think it's going to be a really cool effect. Little contrast there.
It seems like the world's moving, or at least the boot world is moving a little bit more casual. And I kind of feel like this might be just about the perfect leather for the moment. And based on what I've been seeing people get excited about T-core. And I think the way that this is going to change in comparison to something that people might be more familiar with, like the Chrome Excel, like black Chrome Excel, which is on a natural base. When you see those natural Chrome Excel, black Chrome Excel boots being worn and scuffed up, that contrast of the black on the surface and the lighter color underneath, I think is awesome, especially when you go back over and polish it in. But this color I think it's even more dramatic because that base tannage is just so light in color. The Chrome Excel is like a little bit more earthy. So I think people are going to dig that. The other thing that when we were developing this leather, that I got to be honest, it doesn't translate into a product as well as I thought. But the way that the word Lux came about was we thought it felt really, really luxurious. And that was sort of a side effect of this silky, bright, shiny top coat we put on and the tumbling. Usually the tumbling tends to soften stuff up and make it feel really luxurious. And that's how Lux came about. I don't know on your pair, but after I cut these in the side of leather, before I cut it, it felt different. It does have like a really nice soft feel, but it was supposed to be like really, really silky. Can you maybe describe how your boot's feeling?
Yeah, I would say that, like especially this interior panel, these swatches, like the hand is beautiful. You almost don't detect the texture in a meaningful way when you run your hands over it, but it feels different. Like it does, silky is probably close, I would say. You're right. Like, the boot world, moving more casual, a little more rugged is definitely something that I've seen happen, and personally want to believe will continue to. But to have the kind of boots that basically beat up well, which is definitely like the stitch down lifestyle, like wear your boots, treat them right, but wear them hard, and then still have that level of class to them where you're not going to wear these to a wedding after you wore them hard for 3 years. But it's kind of nice to have those two things contrasting, where like these are my nice boots that look even better once they really start to age and you put them through it, but they've still got that panache to them. And some others don't. I mean, I have a pair of old, these are like 5 years old, natural brown Chrome Excel, that kind of fulfill that to me to an extent. Like I've only ever brushed these things, and like you feel good when you're wearing them. But I think that the Lux is like a step up in that department to me.
A little bit more refined. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I've noticed. Do you know if anybody has these available now, or is like everything is so fresh that they're still in the pre-order phase?
No, so these ones are available at Alden Madison. We did a big run of them, pre-sold a lot, sold a bunch when they came into the shop about a week and a half ago. But there's definitely still some pairs, and we'll be doing another run. They also have an indie boot coming out in it. Palais line, which I'm probably mispronouncing, has a pair of just plain toe Bluchers, I think, which also look really nice. Some of their pictures that they posted, I don't think really represent the leather exactly perfectly. It seems a little lighter and not quite as dark and rich. I think Aldwine might have one coming out. Yeah, I mean, you're going to see more and more of this stuff. And anytime that Alden gets a new leather, which is not that often, to me, it's one of the most exciting things that can happen. So, I was very excited to kind of, be the first or among the first to be able to get this boot out with the Alden shop in New York. And yeah, I think you're going to see a lot more of it because it works, and it seems like it can work on just about anything short of like a pure dress shoe. But I hope somebody tries that too.
And this is sort of part of my not so secret agenda of voting with my dollar and trying to get people to come along. I think this might not be fully appreciated by many people, but Alden is not known for doing new things very often.
That's true.
And in addition to that, this leather is so new, it barely exists. So I'm amazed that Alden is going for something new. And I think if we're able to support this effort, if people like this stuff and pick it up, I think this will be some encouragement for Alden to perhaps pick up some more stuff. That's what I'm trying to go for here, is just give people good information on this leather, see if it's a boot they want to pick up or a shoe, and then support Alden and try new things, and maybe we'll get lucky and get some fancy new stuff that we never seen before. That's the dream.
I know that they're playing around with some things and considering hard. So yeah, I mean, a push like this and a good response on that, I agree. I think it could open the door to a lot more.
So let me plug Stitchdown for a minute because I had come across.
No,
we're plugging. I'm plugging you because I love it. I've been in the Discord now, and I came across the Discord just because of the Patina Thunderdome, which I love the idea of. That's why I started the room I'm sitting in right now. Why I started making leather goods is I just wanted to see how they age. So you're right up my alley. I already got a boot in a box back there, ready to go, and we have to sit on it for a few months.
What are you going with?
I went over and did an interview with George from Oak Street and picked up some trench boots from him. Actually, originally I was going to pick up black because I wanted to experience the sort of T-core thing, but he really sold me on the idea of natural Chrome Excel. So I got some cap toe trench boots.
Absolute classic.
And it was great to go get sized by him because honestly, in Alden, I have like 5 different sizes. I don't know what the hell size I am. I actually got a Brannick device sent to me yesterday from Aldwine, and they're going to help me size myself. But I came across.
You gotta have the Brannick device handy.
Yeah, I mean, it's been probably decades, maybe 15 years since I used one. So I've been buying the wrong size for too long. We're going to fix that. But I came across the Discord because of the Thunderdome. You have to be part of the Stitchdown Premium to participate in Thunderdome. But then I was surprised at how great the community is over there. Literally, you encourage people to introduce themselves when you sign up. So I said, hey, I'm Phil. I'm from Chicago. I've got a bunch of pairs of Alden. Here's the boots I have. What's up? And people immediately started engaging with me, and I started talking about the sizing challenge that I have. And I had 3 people within 5 minutes immediately suggest, sizing advice in different styles. And I was kind of immediately blown away. So I love that in there. And then my favorite channel in Discord is, what are you wearing today? I just love seeing all the different boots.
Not the most original, perhaps, but I mean, just seeing what everybody's doing. And there's days where nobody talks about it beforehand, but everybody is just wearing heat, and it's like, wow, we know what we're doing here. But yeah, that the sizing channel, I think, has saved collectively like probably millions of dollars for everybody in there, because everybody's so helpful and there's just so much knowledge in there. We kind of have a specialist for Viberg sizing, who's very, very, very good and really helps everybody out. I mean, the giveaways channel, we just started doing giveaways from brands a couple years ago when the community, kind of formed up, and still do, but it's turned into this place where people are just giving away boots to everybody. And like that kind of just kindness is astounding. There's one guy who I can't even put a price tag on how many of these boots that he's given away, and he's kind of become the patron saint of the giveaways channel. You got to be his size to benefit, but I mean, like giving away clinch boots, like things you've never seen before, things you've never seen happen before in your life. But yeah, it's great. Like we talk about a lot. Certainly boots. There's plenty of gossip flying around in there. Everybody's up on what's going on. The potential makeups channel is great too. People can kind of bounce ideas off of everybody. If you want to get a makeup from, Whites or Nix or Wesco or one of the Indonesian makers, Flame Panda. So yeah, it's great. But it's when it goes beyond boots and moves to like ourselves, that's when it's really at its finest. And I love those moments. And we're probably going to be doing a meetup in New York in the fall, which hopefully will be announced soon. So,
oh, really? Very
yeah,
cool.
It's about time. We've been planning it for a year and a half. Can you believe it?
But yeah, like a Corona's worth of time.
Yeah, one Corona. Man, we love having you in there, and people like yourself who have so much knowledge. It's great. Like Lars from Usmoo's in there, Bagoose from Sagara, Jesse from Guarded Goods. It's like that kind of knowledge is incredible to have there, and everybody's there to learn and share, which is great.
I think I don't know every bit of information, but it really does seem like the best place to go for knowledge base on any of these things. And you got like a direct connect to, a guy that worked at Horween or a guy making boots. You can get the exact information you need pretty much right from the source. And a lot of these guys, I'm always so impressed, just because I know enough about leather to know when people are wrong. I'm always so impressed with like the accuracy of knowledge in there. So you got a special group of people. One more thing, where do I get that shirt? Can I buy that?
I have one left. I think it's a large.
You got a large?
It's
yes.
Medium. It's a medium.
I'm buying it.
You'll need a large or an extra large, but
okay.
this one's a large on me. But yeah, we did like maybe 30 of these with Dean, the knitwear company out of Portland, which also makes my favorite t-shirts. A few months back. So, I mean, if people want them, we could definitely do another run. I've just been kind of putting it off.
Put it in the makeups channel.
We should. But yeah, I mean, it was great. We had like a service boot drawing tee as well. That was pretty cool. I don't have any of those left, but yeah, would love to, get on the horn with Jim from DN and have an excuse to make some more of these because they're fun. And yeah, like everybody looks at you kind of weird, which is the whole point. And then like children on the street, old enough to read, will cackle at you, which is fantastic.
Well, thanks so much for sharing your knowledge with me and with everybody else, Ben. I really appreciate it. And let's do it again sometime.
Would love to, Phil. Thanks a ton.